Hey guys, if you run a Halo Discord server or are part of one, you should definitely check out the Halo D bot. I've got it running in my own Discord server actually, so if you guys are part of that, then you already know. But anyways, it's an AI Discord bot that lets you check all your Halo stats, such as your rank, kills, stats, etc., as well as other really cool Halo info, including your avatar too. It's a really cool bot to add to your Halo Discord server. So if you want to try it out, I've got the link to it in this video's description. It's definitely something every Halo Discord server should have. Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? For this video, we are going to be showing you guys what each species in Halo 2 looks like with active camo. So, the reason why I'm doing this is because earlier last week, I did a video, which you're seeing right here, about what Marines look like with active camo on, thanks to the Assassin Skull. And as you can see in anniversary graphics, it results in some very demonic-looking Marines, to say the least. And this happens because with anniversary graphics and the Assassin Skull on, when Marines turn against you, the Assassin Skull actually does take effect, and it does make them invisible. But for some reason, in anniversary mode, the Marines are very glitchy with anniversary graphics and active camo. It results in them being partially invisible, but you can still see like some lower layers of their face with the anniversary skull, and it just results in those really demonic, scary-looking Marines. But in classic graphics, they all look perfectly normal. So that's what happens when you do that. And after making the video, people did ask me if there are demonic versions of other AI species in Halo 2 Anniversary. And I did do one video about the Heretic leader's hologram, but there's a bunch of other species, and instead of making 20 other videos for each species, because not all of them have any interesting effects, but instead of doing that, I figured I'd do one big video of all of them. So right here, we've got Johnson and Miranda Keys, and we actually finally got Miranda Keys to be invisible. Well, sort of. She's actually just like Johnson in anniversary graphics, meaning she does not turn invisible. Only her weapon does. So unfortunately, we can't do the demonic version of Miranda Keys. But in classic graphics, what's interesting about her being invisible is that at first glance, you don't see anything different. But when you look at her face up close, you do see that her eyelashes and her eyebrows are not invisible. And it just looks kind of like funny and also kind of creepy at the same time, because you see like an outline of her eyes basically thanks to that, and it's just like her eyes are like missing because they're invisible. So it does look kind of creepy. But other than that, there's nothing else special about Miranda Keys being invisible. And it's the same with Johnson. Only his weapon's invisible in Anniversary, but in classic graphics, he's totally invisible. You don't see any eyebrows or eyelashes left behind. So that's about it for those two. Nothing too exciting. But next up we have the ODST, and the ODST was kind of tricky to do because there's only like one mission where I could actually get enough Marines and ODSTs together where I could betray enough of them to have at least one turn against me, and that's only on this mission. And it took a while to do, but here you have it. The ODST is actually pretty stealthy in both Anniversary and Classic, as in he's really hard to see, and there's nothing really special about the ODST in active camo. They're like perfectly invisible, just very different from the other Marines. So here we have the Prophet of Regret, and in Anniversary graphics, you'll see that the Prophet, just like in Classic, he's invisible, the Prophet himself, but his chair is not invisible, and which makes sense because his throne is a vehicle, and vehicles don't become invisible when you get into them. But in Classic graphics, what's very interesting is that the Prophet of Regret is like a giant blob, like an invisible blob from far away. It's kind of like the Sentinels, which we'll get to later. But anyways, next up is the Jackal. The Jackal, in Classic graphics, actually in both Classic and Anniversary, his shield is visible, and partially his weapon as well. But in Anniversary, the back of the Jackal, you can see like the lights are still glowing. And as you saw earlier, in classic mode, his eyes are like not visible, or his eyes are visible and they're like glowing. So the classic mode Jackal is kind of creepier than Anniversary in my opinion. Next up is what we did the other day with our video, the Heretic Leader hologram, which in classic graphics looks pretty scary when his hologram is like damaged, but also using active camo. It just looks like a ghost, I guess. Pretty scary ghost. But up next, we have the Heretic Leader himself, which in classic graphics, he looks mostly fine. But in Anniversary graphics, his jetpack is not invisible. And if you look in classic graphics, his jetpack is invisible, but his eyes, just like the Jackal, are still visible and just kind of floating. Kind of like something like Hunter or Stalker, I guess. But yeah, that's the weird thing about the Heretic Leader. Neither Anniversary or Classic mode gets his active camo right. One of those two always has something that's like still visible, aside from the weapon. But yeah, that's the Heretic Leader in active camo. Up next is the Constructor. This is something that a lot of people probably forgot that exists in Halo 2. But the Constructor is the tiny little thing here. So in classic mode, it's totally invisible except for its little light that shoots beams out, and it's mostly the same in Anniversary graphics. But in Anniversary graphics, at certain angles, at certain lighting, you could still see like a kind of a skeleton outline of the Constructor, and it's yeah, you could just see the shape of it. So it's kind of like the similar glitch as the Demonic Marines, but just really nothing that could be made demonic about the Constructor. Next up is the Sentinel. The Sentinel looks pretty cool in Anniversary graphics when it's invisible. You can also kind of see like an outline of it too in Anniversary graphics. And then when you switch to classic graphics, the Sentinel is just like an invisible blob, just like the Prophet of Regret. And when it shoots, you can see like an outline of it as well. But in Anniversary graphics, I don't know, I can't really describe it, but it just looks cool in Anniversary graphics when it's invisible. And next we have the Sentinel Enforcer in Anniversary graphics first. Its shield is partially invisible, but it's more like a milky color when it's in active camo. And the rest of the Enforcer, its lights are still glowing in active camo, and I think at like certain angles and certain lighting, you can also see like a kind of outline of it, like a skeleton outline. And then in classic graphics, the Sentinel Enforcer, it's mostly invisible, but its shield is obviously not invisible. So it's actually pretty consistent in both Anniversary and classic graphics this time. It's pretty different than some of the other species we've tested, which have big differences between Anniversary and classic. So up next here we have the Flood combat form, the human version. It's nothing too special about it, just it's perfectly invisible, just fine, in both classic and Anniversary. And as you can see there, the Flood infection forms do not turn invisible in both Anniversary or classic. And here we have the carriers, which are kind of tricky to do because they explode so easily. But as you can see, they're also totally invisible in both Anniversary and Classic. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. It's pretty much what you'd expect. And then here we have the elite versions of the Flood combat forms, also perfectly invisible in both Anniversary and graphics. So once again, nothing out of the ordinary here. No demonic versions of the Flood, which is kind of ironic that the Marines would actually be scarier than the Flood in active camo. But yeah, it is what it is. So now we have just regular elites and grunts. This part you've all seen before, but just for the record, I will just show them very briefly. So here is the elite and grunts turning invisible, as you can see in Anniversary, and classic mode. Nothing out of the ordinary. That's because these two species especially were definitely meant to turn invisible with active camo. So there shouldn't be any glitches with them because they were meant to be that way, unlike some of the other species where they're not really supposed to turn invisible, especially like the Marines. The Marines are the least likely to turn invisible because you have to betray them to get them to turn against you. But anyways, as you can see with the Heretic elites, they're just like the Heretic leader. Eyes are not invisible, and then with the Grunts and anniversary graphics, you can see like the blue part of their back still glowing, even with active camo. But yeah, those are the Heretics. Next up, we've got the drones. The drones are actually kind of interesting in classic graphics. So in classic graphics, their wings and their eyes still glow green, and the wings are still kind of like still visible, kind of like a rainbow color, sort of. In anniversary graphics, though, they're totally invisible, just fine. Nothing out of the ordinary there. So classic graphics is where they're most interesting, and as you can see here, when I switch to classic graphics, they're glowing green eyes and like their visible wings just staring at you. It just looks kind of creepy as well. So that is one creepy result there. And you know, like I know like the Assassin Skull has been around since the original Halo 2 on the original Xbox, but I don't think many people actually played with the Assassin Skull on, or even knew like that you could do this. So I guess that's another reason why I wanted to do this video. And even on MCC, I don't think a lot of people play with the Assassin Skull on willingly as well either, unless they're doing lasso. But that's why I wanted to do this, just just so there's a record out there for people who don't want to have to like turn on the Assassin Skull themselves. But anyways, as you saw with the Brute here, Brutes in anniversary graphics are totally fine, but in classic graphics, you can see like their hair still visible on like their arms and like their sides. And then with Tartarus, the mother of all brutes, pretty much, in anniversary graphics, he basically looks like a ghost, and kind of looks like that in classic as well. But in classic graphics, his gravity hammer does not turn invisible. Only in anniversary graphics does his hammer actually turn invisible. But in both cases, he does look like a ghost. But in anniversary graphics, Tartarus does... You can see like much more of an outline of his body. But it's hard to get up close and see him up close. See, there's like a demonic version of him. But he just looks more ghostly, at least. And finally, we have the Hunters here. The Hunters, for the most part, they in both classic and anniversary graphics, they turn invisible just fine, which is kind of surprising because you don't see Hunters very often, and they're not really supposed to turn invisible at all either. But I guess they just turn invisible just fine in this case. And we can actually get up close to Hunter because sometimes they just stand still and don't attack you. But yeah, that's basically it for the Hunters. You can kind of see like an outline of them too, some certain parts of the armor and their backs, but nothing like freaky or anything. But yeah, so I hope you guys did enjoy that video and found it to be interesting. And if you did, make sure to leave a like. Leave your thoughts and comments. If there's anything else you need to check out, just let me know, and I'll do my best to look into it. But other than that, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and click the little notification icon, the little bell symbol next to that, so that you can get notified of our latest videos. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.